their own music, compose their own music. So we decided to come up with this very special project, and it did really well. We're very happy about it because it sold out in one single week. And the second release, we've decided to come up with a CD of a different color. Let me now focus on the cover. Apparently, it's a contradictory because it shows the young face of an enclosed nun, a Clarissa, yes. It's a Clarissa, an enclosed nun, and in this case she represents a priestess, where in a hermetic, with a hermetic interpretation, it represents the highest law of magic, to know, to dare, and to keep silent. The green of the eyes is the third eye of Lucifer, that is to say, knowledge, and the serpent is the life energy, the Kundalini. And behind the priestess you can see part of Orion's constellation, and all of the cover has the meaning of showing the imminent return, and finally I would say, the imminent return of our ancestors. Luciferland, if you allow me, is set in a hypothetical, a land of Lucifer, if I'm not mistaken. No, you're not mistaken. We've decided to call it in this way because just Lucifer would have been perfect, but wonderful, but from a numerological viewpoint it was not. It didn't have the right features to be able to convey the messages we wanted to convey. So this is the suggestion we got. It's Luciferland, that from a numerological viewpoint has all the features that we wanted to have, and Volturna have the same positive numerological features, and that was very important for us because it really went well. It was very lucky for us, and this hypothetical land could be Atlantis, or it could be a land that really hosts divinities, gods, and this is what we mentioned in our concept, by the way. It's the gods that really inspired us most, and many people have wrong knowledge about these gods and divinities. And I must say we were also very lucky because it's not by chance that this happened. I do not believe in things happening by chance, and the work we did, this album, really gave us the opportunity to meet some wonderful people who really enabled us, helped us have some very special inserts in our album in Sumerian, Babylonian, and hieroglyph as well, hieroglyph language. And I must say that for us, this was really wonderful, to the point that I even proposed Terry to write the new album and fully sing it in hieroglyph language, not in Egyptian, mind you, in hieroglyph language, which is ancient Egyptian, if you wish. It's a language that was spoken in 3000 BC, and it was spoken by priests, and it was used during rituals and for prayers as well. And of course it's a language that it's no longer spoken. It hasn't been spoken for a very, very long time. And we were helped by an Egyptologist, Raed Shalan, and he was a wonderful person. And I really would like to thank him because he gave me the opportunity to be able to sing in this wonderful language and to make this acquaintance, to get to know the language and him. And there are other people who cooperated with us and helped us in our work, and I would like to thank Marco Dini Sin, who translated some texts in some lyrics in Sumerian and Babylonian, and he has a degree in ancient languages. And I would also like to thank many other people who helped us with their energy and with an esoteric contribution. Now let's set aside hieroglyph language and let's focus on music. Let's go back to music. If I'm not mistaken, your first single is called Medusa, and you also shot a video clip for it, and both setting and the style are not the usual ones, the ones we're used to for Mandragora. Yes, I must say that Medusa is a new experiment we have run. For every one of our albums we've been running a new experiment, and it's an experiment that's somehow very special because we used some sounds that are rather unusual, are not so usual for our records, for our work. And when I first started composing, writing this album, I didn't have a clear picture of where we were heading and where we want to get to. But Morgan was really good at helping me, guiding me, giving me ideas to be able to manage each piece that represented a god or a goddess. And in the case of Medusa, you were very good, by the way. You were very talented in really finding the right sound for each god or goddess, and I do hope I found the right sound. It's a sensual kind of sound with a very sensual modulation, I will say, as if it were a tribal dance almost. And the sounds, as I was saying, the sounds move away somehow from Gothic or Gothic metal sounds that you're used to in our work and our fans were used to. But I must say that I'm very, very happy with our work because you really can perceive arrangements and you really perceive how guitars were combined, very, very stinging, very rock-based guitar, even distorted guitar, if I may. As I said, they were combined with electronic sounds, and I'm not referring to classical electronic or very usual or traditional electronic sounds. And I must say that I also found a kinematic component that's almost Tarantino-like. Yes, you are correct. We very much like Quentin Tarantino. And so we somehow let our imagination loose, and this video went beyond the borders of music. And this video is very interesting. It's ironical from a certain viewpoint. We mock ourselves somehow, and we go through a number of situations, a number of stories. Well, it's the same story, but it unfolds, leading to different situations. And in this video, which is almost a short film, I tried to compose a small soundtrack for it. And I picked some themes. It could be the guitar themes or the keyboard theme, and combine them depending on the situation that was shown on the video, trying to recall these themes depending on the character and depending on what was happening. We very much like soundtracks, and we have a dream, I must say, a hidden dream, to compose a soundtrack for a great film director. It would be 3 or 4, I must say, film directors that we would like to compose for. Can we name some names? Yes, maybe I'm sure we can name it's Quentin Tarantino, but also Tim Burton, even though Tim Burton, of course, has his own preferred composer, and I must say I deeply respect him. As you feel, you sound very competent in what you say, but have you ever had a proposal from a film director asking you maybe to write the soundtrack for a short film? Yes, it did happen, we must say. It happened a couple of months ago, before we started shooting videos for the album. Luciferland is based on a number of video clips that will be released over the month. This film director is American. It's a small production company, but it's interesting. So we are trying to get organized to see whether we can actually run the project. It's a very interesting project. Well, guys, I think that being on stage, the spotlights do not somehow focus on the audience, but despite that, you can't see the audience. But could you come up with an identikit of a description of your typical fan? Well, from what I could gather, we have a very wide variety of fans. We have fans of all kinds. And I don't know if you agree, Morgan, but what they have in common is that they are very sweet people, very close to us. We feel them very, very close to us when they write to us, when they send us messages, and when we see them directly, when we see them meet them in person. And they have a great heart. So we always, as I said, feel very, very close to them, and they feel very close to us, and they pay compliments to us, but above and beyond the fact that we are the artists, they're the fans. But the relationship we have with them, it's very genuine, it's very much alive, it's a lively type of relationship, and very rewarding for us. So that would be the typical description. There's not one typical fan who dresses up in dark style or in a different way. Each and every one of them has a very specific feature, an outstanding feature. It's the eyes. And what do you mean by eyes? Eyes meaning eyes mirroring the soul, or makeup on the eyes? No, I mean eyes mirroring what they have inside as a mirror of their soul. And so, Morgan, your life is not you don't lead an ordinary life. So how do you organize your day, or maybe I should say, how do you organize your night? Normally, when we're not working on our album, I very much like to study, and I'm a big fan of books. I'm always really, I like to be with books, lots of books, especially ancient books. I love cinema. I watch a lot of movies, and then I build furniture, pieces of furniture in wood. I paint on glass. I do quite a few things. Last year, I found out that I have a big passion, unfortunately too late, but it's a big passion for me, and it's violin, studying violin, learning how to play the violin. I started to study, but then I had to stop because, of course, Luciferland was a very demanding piece of work, was a major piece of work for us. So I had to leave that, but as soon as I have time, I want to go back to it and start playing and studying violin again, because I really felt that was an enlightenment for me. I love this instrument. Is there anything else? I keep repeating this, but something that goes beyond music, anything special that you've been studying, something that wouldn't be the ordinary subjects you study at school, so to say. No, there are quite a few things. I mean, I don't study the usual things that you would learn at school. I like alchemy, esoteric studies, quantum physics lately I've been focusing on, and ancient civilizations. This is really something I like to study. It's very interesting. And they all of these topics have a very hermetic nature to them. And you somehow feel very isolated, you're on your own for a long time, you don't have much time to share with others. And it's studies that I must say are rather that imply, let's say, a 360-degree body and soul involvement for a person. And this is how I feel about it. So it's quite demanding, quite involving for me. But it's something I could never give up. I couldn't do without, because I come from a family who is a bit of a special family, if I may. My grandmother was a medium, my father was also a medium, and somehow I inherited some of their abilities. So that's it. I know that these disciplines, these studies of humanities, require total dedication, total devotion. Yes, that's true, because ever since I started focusing on these studies, it wasn't so intense at the very beginning, but lately, especially for this album, I had the opportunity to meet very interesting people. I have some masters, and they are very valuable people, and I would like to thank all of them. And indeed, it takes up a lot of time. Your social life runs in a bit of a different way, and I am quite a solitary person. I do not like to go out very much. I do not like to go to pubs or anything like that. It's something that I do very seldom. I'd rather have a dinner at home with friends. I don't like mundane life, so to say. We had a lot of that when we are touring with the band. So it's and it takes some time it takes a lot of isolation to recover from that. And Terry, you are more or less the same. So where do you get your creative vein from? So first and foremost, I must say that music takes up most of my day or most of my night, because I must say that now we've almost lost track of time. And I must say that I have an interest for these topics, not at the same level as Morgan, but I am very much interested in scientific topics and themes. I'm a great fan of Tesla the scientist. Unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to meet him in person. I would have loved to have met him. We have to specify, because if you say Tesla, people may think of the band, so you have to say the scientist, indeed. So unfortunately for the band, I'm not interested in the band, I must say, but I'm interested in the scientist, as I said. Sometimes I really feel the same as he did. I try to wear his hat and imagine myself wearing his shoes somehow, and the studies he led, and what we get and what he focused on really sounds like things that came from somewhere else, from other planets. And I read some of his biographies, and they said that he had these enlightenments these insights, and it was like a strike of lightning. And I think that the idea I have about him and about what he did is somehow connected to this album. This is what makes me believe that there are opportunities that man can grasp, because man has powers, capabilities that are only exploited in a very limited manner. I would say 20%, and a person like Tesla managed to really make use of these powers and these abilities. And so sometimes I create small things at a very with a very low profile. There are times when he comes home and he tells me, well, today let's create this, and tomorrow we do this other thing, and then we buy all the necessary materials. I'm really fascinated, and sometimes we do run these experiments that were proposed by Tesla, and I'm really fascinated by these great minds. Think of Leonardo. And sometimes I try to come up with some projects, as they did, of course, with very poor results. I'm not comparing myself to them, but apparently reading, and therefore culture as well, is something your day-to-day life hinges on.